Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, hey, tonight we're talking about a cool topic. We're talking about creating a self-managing practice. And I know, like, just from doing my podcast, we always say it. Sometimes the leadership stuff is not the most exciting. And some of you guys might say, well, self-managing practice. I kind of like managing my practice. I mean, it doesn't take me that much time. It's not that hard for me to do. I don't really mind. But I'm going to ask you to extend your mind just a little bit tonight that maybe, possibly, may not know, don't know. Because at one point in my career, maybe about 6 years ago, I didn't know it either. But as everything, we go through life, make mistakes, and we learn from them. So I'm going to give you some really good stuff tonight. I'm going to give you some great verbiages to use with your team. And I'm going to talk about some of the trickier areas and the trickier conversations that we have with her. I know that we have these conversations because I coach dentists, a dentist, and I own a practice, and I've had these conversations myself. So let's get started. All right. So, first of all, we've got to define what is a self managing practice? What does that even mean? So, what this means is that every operational task gets completed on time without you asking, without you prompting, saying, did this get done? I'm talking about checking in lab cases, any daily, end of day, midday things, maybe some weekly stuff, maybe things you do once a month, the AR, sending statements. All the operational tasks of your dental office get completed without you asking about it. You can erase it from your mind. You can erase it from your emotional energy. Just know things are getting done. What else? Decisions are made by your team without your input. They take the just complete autonomy and make decisions, solve problems. You don't even hear about the problems because they're solved. They don't get to you. Now they're all addressed without your guidance. Not know like, hey, not hey doc, Mrs. Jones is on the phone. She's all pissed off about this. What should we do? Just take care of it. The systems, the way you operate your practice, your processes, they get created when they're needed. They get improved upon without you being the person to say, hey, I think this system is broken. Team notices it and they take care of it without you. And the team, they hire, they get fired, they get coached by each other, they do the reviews, they get trained, they are developed without you. All the things that you are likely doing in practice, which is of no fault of your own. This is how it is. You open a practice, you are the leader, you are the person, you're the biggest manager, you're the one at the top, you're the one who's doing this stuff, right? That's just how it is. But as you grow, you need to start creating a self-managing practice. And it's for a few reasons we'll get to in just a moment. My last criteria, you leave for a month, practice will continue to operate, always has. Okay. In the next 7 weeks, I am off 6 of them. That is awesome, right? And I know my practice will continue to run without me some time off. So now, what about if you're not? What if you don't have a self-managing practice? Well, first of all, you're going to be the bottleneck to growth. What that means is like we're going to bring that chemistry thing. You're the rate limiting factor. Remember that stuff? You are going to be the person that is keeping your practice from growing, and it will be you will be ignorant to it. You won't even know that that's happening. But trust me, it is. If you are going to be the person that's going to be fielding the questions, making the decisions all day, if nothing moves unless you push it, if everything stays the same unless you are the one to initiate that change, all the mistakes, all the inefficiencies in your practice, those will continue unless you are the person that brings those things into light, not have a self-managing practice. You, as a leader, are the rate limiting factor. So this can only go one way. You can only grow your practice to the limits of your leadership. So I know leadership, it's not sexy. People are like, I want to learn how to place implants, something that's going to make me money. Leadership makes you money. This is the stuff that makes you money. It just is hard to quantify. But when you look back, and I work with a lot of practices, every practice I work with that is just crushing it, these are the skills that they hone in on. These are the things I work with my coaching clients, my one-on-one clients, and in our mastermind community. We are talking a lot about these things because they're the most important. nail this stuff, a lot of the other stuff tends to just take care of itself because of culture. So if you are the bottleneck, you do not have a self-managing practice, you're not going to be experiencing the growth, the peace, I mean, yes, or the income that you deserve. What's the favorite part of that for me? Man, that peace. Peace is just knowing things are getting done. It's a lot to have on your mind, taking things off our mind. We know they're going to get done. We trust our team, teach you how to do this. But what do most dentists do? Well, we become the rate limiting factor. We become the bottleneck. And then we complain about it, but we do the exact same things that make it work. Mean is like when you are the fixer of everything. You are the corrector. When somebody does something wrong, it is you who must correct them. You are the one who is addressing any problems, any interpersonal strife between people. You are the person that must address it. And what all three of these things have in common is they're reactive. The bigger your team gets, the more you react, the more patience you see, the bigger your patient base gets, the more you are reacting to. So you can see how this will lead to burnout. And like I said, you're ignorant to it. You don't realize how much it's inhibiting your growth. You are the person that's either pushing or pulling everybody up a mountain. You have no idea of how much quicker you could get to your goals if you just enlisted the help of some people, some leaders in your practice. Maybe instead of you being the only manager, the only leader, the only person there, you've got 3, maybe 4 other people that are taking on high responsibilities and helping you do this. They've got the right kind of intentions in their heart. You've given that to them and you've trained them on it, and because you've been really clear about what you want from them. Think about if you could multiply yourself at your practice. Wow, that'd be amazing, right? You would grow so much faster. And a lot of dentists, we just add unnecessary stress to our lives. We don't realize we're doing it. Like I said, you're going to grow until you reach your maximum leadership level, and then you'll just stagnate, and then you'll burn out. You'll get so frustrated. I want you to think about gardening, okay? 2 gardeners here. I want you to figure out which gardener are you? You got 1 gardener, okay? This person's gonna have their little garden. They're gonna look at that and say that weed doesn't belong. Get that weed out here. Oh, there's another weed. Got to pull it. Get that weed out. They're just gonna let whatever grows, but we sure as shit are gonna pull those weeds. We do not allow weeds. Maybe something will grow good. It'll look nice. Maybe it won't. Well, we know it won't have any weeds, right? Then you got another gardener that says, I'm gonna plant some roses here, some lilac, more fragrant stuff over here. I'm gonna put something in the middle to kind of like bring out a certain color pop. Very intentional garden. And there's a weed. And there's a weed, but we're going to be intentional about what is growing here, but we're also going to, who's going to have the nicer garden? Neither of the gardens are going to have weeds, but only one person's going to have a nice garden at the end. Maybe the other person will get lucky, who knows? But that's what most of us dentists do. We are constantly reacting to things happening in our practice. We are constantly pulling the weeds. That's what I want to get you away from. I want you to start thinking about being more proactive at your practice. You might be thinking to yourself, Doc, I'm busy as hell. I'm seeing patients. My God, I don't have time to do this stuff. You don't have time not to do this stuff. All these things will make your life so much easier. So even if it requires you to do things like this, have more meetings, have your team stay after the practice, or even shut your practice down, it is worth it. I assure you. So great leaders plant. We're gardeners and we plant. We set the standards for the office. We hold the team accountable. We give the office direction. Here's where we're going. We give the team expectations. Model, lead by example. Show our team how to effectively, respectfully communicate with each other. We are the people setting the example. I want you to think, as a dentist, I'm a magic genie here. I'm going to grant you one wish about your practice. You cannot wish for more wishes. You know how it goes. You one wish. Most people would wish everyone did everything exactly the way you wanted, exactly how you wanted them to do it without your involvement. What would your practice be like if everybody did the things that you wanted them to do when you want them to do it exactly the way you wanted them to do it? What would that feel like? Is that even a realistic expectation? That would feel amazing. You never had to correct anybody. You never had to ask, hey, did that get done? Hey, what happened to Mrs. Jones? We haven't seen her in a while. Call her. We've all been there. Here's the surprise for you is that you want this so bad. Your team wants it too. They want to be great. They want to do a good job at their everything you want out of your team also wants for themselves, and they want that out of their team members. Here we are. We're not planting anything. We're just pulling weeds and reacting. It's like we're gonna hold our hands behind our back and we're say, guess how many fingers I have up, and we're gonna get all pissed off when something gets it wrong. No way for them to know that. That is frustrating as hell for them. Frustrating as hell for you as a dental practice. That's what tonight is about. Our big key idea, okay, is that great leaders, we do not force behavior. Behavior. You do not need to force behavior. What you need to do is invite others into your vision. It is an invitation. Here is what I want. Here is what we value. Here's what we want here. Here's what we're building. Here is where we are going. You're inviting your team on it. You're telling them that this is my practice. No, you're here with me. Here is what we are going to be about. Here's what we're going to stand for. And then they still have the autonomy to choose whether that's a practice for them. You can't force them to do anything. If you have to force them to get them to do it, it's not going to feel good. They have to choose that they also want those. They get the autonomy to choose. You're just inviting them into a great practice. Okay. I say this to my team all the time. I said two things, man. Hey, I want this to be a great place for our patients. I want this to be a great place to work. You guys want that too? Hells to the yeah, they all. We did this. I just had this podcast that released this week, talked about how we took a poll on the team. Like, poll, we didn't take a poll to the team. Sometimes I want to, but we took a poll as a team on what do we want? What is an ideal teammate? Everybody shared 5 traits of it. And the commonalities were positive, agreeable, helpful, all those things. And then we said, what's a bad team member? Negative, not accountable, disrespectful, gossipy. And nobody was like, everyone was in agreement. Nobody raised their hand. They're like, I like negative people. Be nice to the negative people. I like when people get all defensive. Same thing with this idea of your practice is that everybody wants the same thing, but you're doing a disservice to your team and to your patient. Not talking about it. Got to talk about it. And if all you're ever talking about is what's wrong, your team is never going to see it. They're not going to know what. Remember back in like 2000, oh dear, it's just so weird when I tell some old stories because it's a long time ago. 2002, I made websites. Okay, I was an undergraduate. I was making websites. This is HTML. It's frames. You might not even know what the hell I'm talking about, but it was a little bit more complicated than say how to create a website, like coding and stuff like that. And my brother-in-laws, they run a construction company. They said, "Hey, Paul, will you make us a website?" And I said, "For sure, I would love to make you a website. Yeah, because it's cool. I want to help you. And it's a cool thing to do. I really enjoy doing it." I said, "Send me your logo. What do you want it to look like?" I don't know what I want it to look like. I mean, like, what do you want me to do? Like, you want a banner on the top? You want the navigation menu somewhere? Like, what do you want? What are the pages? They said, "Hey, just whatever you come up with. I'm sure it'll be great." So I created this awesome website. Their colors were blue and gold, pictures of the houses. I loved it. I'm so excited to show them. They both went, "Oh, man, I don't know. I kind of don't like this. The thing there." I'm like, "Well, what do you mean you don't like it?" "I don't like how that looks." "But what do you want me to do instead?" "I don't know." Okay, well, so essentially what they were saying is I have no idea what I want, but I know when I see something I don't want, I'll let you know. How frustrating do you think that was for me? Me and my wife weren't even married yet. I was still playing nice to my brother-in-laws. Now I'd be like, "Dude, you're an idiot. Tell me what you want," you know? But back then I was like, okay, I'll work on it. And I brought him version 2. "I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like this." So frustrating. We're doing that with our team. Okay. So, and then we're also like getting involved to the point where we fix every issue. Now, I'm not saying you don't want to be helpful with your team. You want to help them. You want to help run this practice. This is your practice. Your name is on it, or it's your reputation. But at some point, you got to stop being the fixer because it's not sustainable. That's got to be part of your culture. Culture at your practice, built in those conversations. Every conversation builds your culture. There's no neutral moments at all. You're building your culture conversation by conversation, just in the same way that you might be building trust with people, built by these little thousands of little moments. You can't just declare a culture and say, hey, I decided we're going to have a great culture where everybody's positive. You show up the next day and everybody's positive. It doesn't work like that. You got to work towards it. So, like every conversation, every time you correct somebody, or every time maybe somebody brings something to you, you get really defensive. Kill your culture. That's a conversation that's going the wrong way. The way you react to things, when people screw things up, you can make it safe, you can forgive, you can offer grace, explode on people, get very critical of them, point fingers and blame. Those reactions are going to build different cultures. You are teaching the team. You're in this important role as a practice leader. You've got to teach them how to behave. You got to teach them what matters because you are going to get what you tolerate. And it is very hard to look your team in the eye, get pissed off when they show up late, showing up 10 minutes late after your patient's already been sat. You got to be the example. Every day you have an opportunity to do this. Have these culture defining conversations daily. Now, I read in a book, it's called Fierce Conversations. Really good book. Now, if you're looking for like some conflict resolution books, you guys know if you follow me, I read a ton of books. But there's this idea called mokitas. It was like some like New Guinea tribe culture, something like that. They had something called mokitas. And what the mokita essentially translates to in like English is elephant in the room. So it's the thing that everybody knows about, that negative thing everybody knows about, but nobody wants to bring it up. Nobody wants to talk about it. So they would measure, they would say, hey, the health of our community is based on us having no mokitas. So anything there is that is a mokita, any elephant in the room, we need to bring it into the light. This is your job as a leader, bringing those things into the light, asking questions of your team, finding out what's going on, finding out what frustrates them. Because when you do that, start to build that healthy culture. The team starts to feel respected, heard, matter. People matter because you're taking the time to do it. And like I said, this is a Peter Drucker thing. He said Peter Drucker was like a strategy business coach. He said culture eats strategy for breakfast. If you've got a solid culture that is built by communication, respect, psychological safety, what are those strategical things? How do we do this? How do we do that? They'll just work themselves out. Now, they won't always work. As your organization gets bigger, you need to have that strategy. But I'm just saying, if you can nail the culture piece, a lot of things fix themselves. Most owners, we avoid being the example. We avoid talking about it. We avoid bringing up these like conversations about culture because we're just not that comfortable talking. And I get that. I mean, I was an advertising major. I had to take speech in undergraduate. I signed up 3 times for that course and I dropped it 3 times in the first week. Terrified to speak in front of people, right? I didn't want to do it. So it's I get it. Nobody wants to talk. It's hard to talk in a room. And it's hard to have a lot of these conversations. But I want you to think about this. Who are your best team members? Just think of one of your best team members, one of your best employees. Think about them for a second. Got them? The ones that's going to run through a wall for you. One that will take a bullet for you. Why are they like that? Is it just because of some book or some like a brand book you provided them because you signed their checks? No, it's because of all those little situations that you showed to them that they matter to you. Matter to them now. So think about that. We have the opportunity every single day. We've got to bring it. Even when you're not feeling it. So we're going to be talking about some conversations tonight. These are the ones that I think are going to give you the most bang for your buck. These are things that happen in practices that, we're like sticky situations. We don't really know what to do. We don't know if this talking about these things. How to handle situations. I'm going to give you some verbiages for these and I'm going to help you do these. Okay. Now, this is just a little tiny little part of what we teach in our programs, our Omni Practice program. We've got a 7-phase program. I'll give you some little details here, but this is going to help you a lot. And I know you're going to get a lot out of this. So we're going to talk about declaration conversation. Okay. We're going to talk about the accountability conversation. don't do what they're supposed to. Leading with why, setting the standards conversation. These rarely happen in anyone's practice. I'm going to show you how to do that. And man, they happen all the time in my practice. And those tricky conversations. Talking to a team member about one thing, they want to sideswipe flank you with some other conversation that's not related. What do we do in that situation? Then I'm going to teach you about vulnerability conversation. I think are the secret weapon. Every owner, man, these vulnerability conversations will take you a long way. So first, let's talk about the declaration conversations. What are we doing with this? We're saying this is who we are as an office. This is what we do. This is how we do it. This is the idea. We're planting. This is how you plant your garden. You've got to decide who you are and what you do and how you do it in so many different levels that you practice. But at the most basic foundational level, vision. And where I see this come up a lot is for like dental practice owners. Maybe they acquire a practice. They go in and they work with a team that's been working with some other doctor for years and years and years, maybe decades. And then they say, like, I'm just trying to like my way in. Don't want to like ruffle too many feathers. Eventually, what do? They start ruffling feathers and they start getting resistant. And then maybe like that hygienist that's been there for 35 years, she quits and all the patients are going to leave. Man, they're just prisoners, that old team. Got to get in there. I'm not saying like don't do this on day one, but maybe within a few weeks of getting to know everybody on a relational level, you got to declare, hey, I am so happy to be here. I'm so happy you guys are on this team. This is what I want to do with this practice. I want it to be this way. This is how I think we should treat each other. I want us to be this type of practice. I want to feel like this in here. I want you to come with me on this journey. I think we can really do it. This practice is amazing. Better. Who's excited? Okay, you're declaring who you are. So you got to be planting. Okay? And once we declare who we are as a vision, or we're declaring how we do things, if we're going to go micro level, talking about certain systems and processes, when things fall outside of that, be our core values. Somebody does something that's outside of core values. Now we can call out on that accountability. Hey, that's not what we're going for. That's not how we do things here. Brings us to the second type of conversation, which is the accountability conversation. I'm going to give you, this is my most powerful framework here. Most powerful framework I've ever taught anybody. And it's just one of those things I kind of stumbled upon, read a book about it, and I said, oh my gosh, that's new. This works. It's called a CVI framework. Use this in so many different situations in your practice. But if you think about something going wrong in your practice, something's not happening the way you want, that weed you want to pull, the first step to address it is curiosity. You have got to get curious about why something happened. So you need to go to the people involved and say, hey, I'm just curious, like what happened with that? Explain this to me. Or I noticed you didn't do that. Explain that to me. Forget about it. Like, you're getting curious. You need to understand it. All right. This next step, the V, validation. This is where everybody screws it up. They screw it up. Somebody brings something to the doctor owner and they say, hey, this happens. And they say, or something that pissed them off that happened. You go, no, that's not what happened. That's not what I meant. That's not what I did. That isn't it. You're telling that person that their experience was wrong. Or somebody's mad at somebody else. You're telling them they're overreacting. They shouldn't be so sensitive. All these things. When you do that, when you have to be right, you have to convince somebody that they're wrong, that conversation's over. It's not going anywhere productive. Now, that person might walk out of your office, being quiet and be, hey, thanks for talking to me, doc, but they're not happy. You've got to validate their experience. Hey, I totally get why you did that. I totally get why you might have forgotten that. I totally get why you would be upset with that. You're not agreeing with them. You're just saying, I validate your experience. There's always two sides to every story. There's multiple perspectives. This is one of the biggest things you can do with your team is offer them grace, validate their experience. When you validate someone's experience, you know what? They're going to feel good. They're going to feel like, wow, okay, now I'm open to have a conversation about it. Okay. I was sharing with my mom not that long ago. I was telling her how I just really feeling like I've been needed by a lot of people. Every time I open my email, someone's asking me. I'm just like, it's just been really frustrating. Like everybody at the practice, all the coaching clients, all the stuff, all this different projects I'm part of, just been feeling really draining on me that so many people are coming at me and needing things. She said, oh, you should be happy that there's so many people that need you. That is, that means you're important. So what did she do to me? She said, you know what? The way that you're feeling is wrong. You should be feeling this way. How do you think I felt about that? I just, you'll never understand, Ma. Just anyway, I don't know. Let's just move on. Let's just talk about something else. What would it have been like if she said, "Man, that sounds really, really tough. I could see how draining that would be." Then I would have felt validated and heard. You need to do that with your team. Validate experience, and then the I invite them for a solution. Okay, invite them. What do you think we should do so that checklist gets done? What do you think we should do about that person, patient, that teammate, things like that? Our goal with CVI, we want to understand the issue. We want to collaborate on the solutions. We're going to help the team with the improvement. It shouldn't fall all on the owner's shoulders, and so often it does. So CVI, curiosity, validation, and invitation. Let me give you a real world example. Okay. So this is with the dental assistant. They didn't do the checklist at night. Hey, dental assistant, I noticed that the closing checklist wasn't complete last night. Can you help me understand what got in the way of that? Asking, help me understand. You're not saying, hey, you didn't do the checklist. What's up? Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it? It's not accusatory. So they say, oh, yes, we were running late and I was helping up front and I totally forgot before I left. Now we're going to validate it. Go. So most people would go to, well, I need you to get that done. You need to get that done. It's your checklist. You can't go home until it's done. We're going to validate the fact that they forgot it. Well, that makes sense. I could totally get it. When the day runs long and you're trying to help in a lot of areas, I could totally see how that would fall through the cracks. But I need to get it done. We need to make sure we do this every day. What do you think we could adjust so that the checklist still gets done even when we do get busy? Then they come up. We're inviting them for that solution. Maybe the assistant will suggest assigning one person per night. They're going to come up with that solution like that because we all got team members like that, right? I don't know. You're going to talk. You're going to invite them into the solution. So you're getting curious about what happened, validating their experience, and then you're inviting them for solutions, okay? So I hope that makes sense. Use that really well. We're going to lead with why. Shared standards conversations. Now, these are where we're rooting the reason for doing something inside a deeper why. Might be like the core values of your practice. It might be for the patient's best interest. It might be the team's best interest. And, I use this in so many things that gives me a little bit of pushback about something that I want to do. I don't understand why we want to do that. I'll give you an example. Late hours. I have an 11-hour practice. We're open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's 13 hours a day. Guess who wants to work the night hours? Nobody. People don't want to work night hours. They want to be home with their families. But the thing is, they might say, I don't understand why we got to stay late. Everybody I know works at a practice that show closes at 5. I'll say, you know what? That is the level of care that I want to provide for our patients. I want to be a convenient office for our patients so that they don't have to take off work. Okay, I want to provide that level of care. So I'm putting it into the patient's interest. We're doing the best thing for the patient. And the thing is, too, you can always follow up with, I love saying this. I don't think our patients deserve that level of care. This came up with me with a hygienist. Healthy patient. We take 15 to 20 intraoral photos on every single patient, but it's a healthy patient. I don't have to take those photos. I think the healthy people should be able to see inside their mouth as well. This was behind, and they come here because we're high tech. Do you not think our patients deserve that level of care? Maybe we didn't have time for x-rays. Do you not miss the apex? I didn't have time. Well, we can't really diagnose like periapical pathology if we don't have the apex. I think our patients deserve that level of care that we can diagnose those things. So putting it on the patients, we're doing it for the patient. We're not arguing about it like, hey, well, I need you to do this. I said so. I'm the boss. No, we're doing the right thing for the patient. And we can do that also with the team. Right thing for our team. Maybe somebody's calling off. Do you think that's fair to our team for that they have to work short staffed that many days a week? Things like that. Why? Shared standards. Talk about these tricky conversations. Love these. Give you an example of this. Off topic. How many times do you talk to your team about something and they want to bring it off topic? And what I mean by this is say you call somebody out for showing up late. This is a good example. Call somebody out for showing up late. Well, did you call out whoever last Wednesday when they were late? Does that ever happen to you? You're talking to this person about today and they're talking about last Wednesday. You say, you know what? I totally get where you're coming from. We can talk about that later. But right now, we're talking about you being late. You just redirect it back. You validate, what about that person who did called off early like 2 Tuesdays ago? You know what? I totally get why you would be upset about that, but we can talk about that later. Right now, I'm talking about you coming in. You just bring it right back. Validate their feelings, redirect it back. Don't give a shit what happened last week. We're talking about today. It happens all the time. We try to be fair to everybody, but sometimes it's hard. And your team will call you out on that. The fact of the matter is it's fallacious. It doesn't matter. Talking about this, redirect them. Flexibility. So we want to be fair. Do you ever have situations, and I know everybody's got this because I've been coaching a lot of dentists. You have somebody on your team that maybe possibly a single mom, or maybe somebody that's got to get a few kids on the bus, or just has some special circumstance where maybe they can't get to work on time, but they'll be 15 minutes. Okay. And then your team is going to say, I want to show up 15 minutes. This has happened to me. I've had, single mom, 3 kids who had to show up half an hour late. And then I had some people say, well, I want to show up a half an hour late because I don't feel like getting up that early. Well, she's got 3 kids. She's got to get on the bus and she doesn't have a husband to help her, So we're trying to be fair to everybody. But the thing is like they think that's being unfair to them. So what you do in this is I want you to involve your team. Okay, so you're upset that that person comes in late. What do you want us to do? And they'll say, well, I want to be here just like everybody else. Okay. And what if they can't? Do we let them go? Or you ask everybody on the team, hey, does everybody want to let this person who's got 3 kids, single mom, show up a little 30 minutes late on a Tuesday? Is everybody okay with that? Because, we all got to be okay with it. Nobody on your team's going to be like, I'm not okay with it. They might say it to you privately. They're not going to say it in front of you. You put the agency on them. Let them decide. And the thing is, you'll say, okay, you want this person to show up on time. What if they can't? What should we do? And this is when I do the empty seat question. Say, okay, I don't know if this person's going to be there on time, but, or somebody's complaining about another team member. You know how hard it is to hire right now. A lot of people on your team think you can fire somebody, you put an ad on Indeed, somebody calls you the next day, have them in for the interview, and we replace them. We know as practice owners, this is very difficult to replace people. So you might have to ask your team member who is complaining, okay, I get that this person might not be the best fit here, but would you prefer this person or an empty seat? Because we'll try to replace them, but there's a chance that we might not be able to replace them for a long time. Would you rather have this person be here and we'll keep looking, or do you want an empty seat and be short-staffed? And I've had it go both ways. I have had some people that cause so much trouble, they say, I would prefer the empty seat. We can't stand her. And I've had other people that say, you know what? The fact that, I am okay waiting as long as I know that you're looking, that you're aware of it. So this is how you get yourself. You're putting the agency on them. They get to decide. It's one of those things. I want the person to show up on time. Well, you know what? They're not going to. So if they're not going to, should we let them go? Oh, no. Don't fire them for that. Just make them show up on time. Well, you know what? They can't get here on time. So should I fire them? No. They don't think that because they're not the owner and they're not the person thinking about that stuff. You're in that situation. You've been there. You've been through it. You know they're tricky conversations. So now let's talk about how we're trying to create a self-managing practice. We're trying to get the team to do things without us. But the team keeps asking us questions. What do we do? Well, we get annoyed. Everybody asks me so many questions. I was feeling this just the other week when I was telling my mom about it. So many people asking me questions. It wasn't at the practice. It was in my general life, and I tend to get really overwhelmed at tax time. I don't know if your taxes are as complicated as mine, but I got to get something like 70 documents together. It's such a pain. Oh, God. And I'm not filing until October. Anyway, but what most times do, we get annoyed, and then we answer the question, right? And what does that do? What does that create? It creates more dependence on you. You're the person that they go to for the problems. And it creates less ownership from your team. You want your team to own. But why do they come ask you anyway? Because you're just so damn smart. So damn smart that you know the answer for everything. A lot of the times it is because that person doesn't want to own the result. And if they come to ask you what to do because they're not sure what the result's going to be. So they say, and then you tell them, they go do it. If the patient's all pissed off, if it doesn't work out, well, I asked him or her, I asked Doc, that's what they told me to do. So they don't have to own that result. We don't want that. We want them to own the result. We want to make it okay to make mistakes. We don't want them to be dependent on it. It takes a lot of energy out of you emotionally to constantly be answering questions. You got to put yourself in that mode. You got to listen to what's going on. You got to think, give a response. Do enough dentistry and making enough decisions daily. Get rid of those questions. How do you do it? What's the right approach? Ask yourself this. Your team, are they smart or dumb? Are they smart people or are they dumb as hell? Because what you believe about your team will affect what you do here. Your team is smart. You might have a few, but most of all, most of your team, 99% of your team, most of your team is smart and capable. You need to believe that they are smart and capable, that they will do the right thing, that their intentions are good, no matter what it is. But they need your endorsement. They need to know that you believe in them. They need to know that you want them to make decisions. You want them to think independently. You want them to be autonomous. You want them to make decisions. You don't want them to come ask you every little thing. So the thing is they're going to come to you, hey, doc, this happened. What should we do? We're all right back at them. Man, what do you think we should do? They're going to get confused. Like, well, I don't know what we think we should do because that's why I'm asking you, dumbass. And then you say, well, what do you think I would do? I don't know. And that's why I'm asking you. Okay, I get that, but I don't know. What do you think I would do? Yes. What do you think I would do? Whatever they say do that. Do that. Unless it's like something. Let's say, let's do that. And we'll say, well, is that what you would want to do? I don't know. But I want you to think for yourself and I want you to handle these things on your own. Let's do that. If it doesn't work out, we'll talk about it. It's okay. But the only way you can do those things, throw those back to people, is you have to accept that they're going to make some mistakes. And this happens with the declaration conversation. Personally, you declare to the team that mistakes with patients, the practice with each other, with team members, mistakes, there's not a problem. They are expected. We expect that mistakes are going to get made. And when they do, we're going to learn from them. One of my biggest mantras I say is grace over guilt. Anyone makes a mistake, talk about it. We come up with solutions. We do not shame that person. You need to make it safe to make a mistake. People are not going to step up and take on that responsibility and take on that accountability and own the decision because you tell them to, but they will step up when it's safe. The environment makes it feel safe for them to do so. So these are the things that you're doing in your practice, not thinking about, but they're ending up and showing up in a lot of different ways with not doing what you do. We want our team to self-manage our practice. Got to say this is the right way to do things. We've also got to pass that power back because most of us have grown up, and you've done it too. You've worked at jobs where you just go to the boss and say, what do I do? Most people who have never managed or led people think like being the boss is awesome because you boss everybody around. That is like the worst way to lead. Let's think about. We want our team to think independently. We want them to be confident. We want them to be accountable. We need to model it, but we also need to let them run with it and know, just like our kids, they're going to make mistakes and they're going to learn. And that's okay. So if nothing changes, keep doing things the same, the way that you've been doing, what happens? Well, you stay the bottleneck, right? You are that rate limiting factor. You will stay the bottleneck. You will stay stressed. Your team will stay dependent on you. You will resent them for that dependency. Growth of your practice will be very limited. Only be able to grow as much as your leadership allows. You can't grow past that. There's only so much one person can handle. Will burn out. You continue. handle everything. You got to give the power back to your team. You got to have the conversations in the right way. That's why we're talking about implants. Oh, those make money. We're talking about new procedures. That makes money. No, leadership and communication makes money. Makes your life easier. Everything is foundational on that. So you can not change, stay the bottleneck, be the rate limiting factor, or you can build a team that thinks, acts on their own, runs the practice without you. That's essentially, that's what we teach with Dental Practice Heroes. This is our 7-phase omni-practice system. This is something that we created about 2 years ago. We all want a systematized office. We need to build it on a foundation of leadership and communication, build the systems. This is our program. It takes about 12 months for most people to get through it. I've had offices get through it in 6 months. And I want to share this with you. We have got our legendary VIP Mastermind Retreat. It is coming up in 2 weeks. This is the house that we will be staying in. We're going to be in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. This is going to be an awesome retreat. There's going to be 15 dentists, all business owners, all people that listen to the podcast. So like, it's not like, the Facebook dentists. We are all people that are trying to grow a practice that gives us a lot of time and a lot of money back and gives us a lot of fulfillment in our lives. So think about that. I went through tonight. I talked about some specific issues with team members. I know a lot of these ones I talked about, you go, oh, I had something like that happen with me too. Picture this, 15 dentists in a mastermind. And we're going to be doing fun stuff too. But 15 dentists all staying in this 20-bedroom mansion. Everybody has their own bathroom, 20 bedrooms, 20 bathrooms. And we're all going to share our problems with the group. And we're all going to come up with solutions. And you're going to hear so many different people's problems. And you're going to say, I have that in my practice too. And there's going to be this camaraderie and everybody working together. And you're going to get so much out of this weekend, way more than you would get out of going somewhere and listening to somebody lecture for 3 days. All right. And not only that, you're going to build relationships with people that are dentists like you that are focused on their business and creating the kind of thing. People you can lean on and stuff like that. So it'd be great networking. It's going to be super fun. I'm going to show you some pictures of the house, but this is the code to get it. Okay. This is where you sign up. It's 15 seats available. Last time we did it, sold it all out last time. Oh, dude. Last time we did it in Destin, Florida. It was so much freaking fun. And this is Smoky Mountains. Never been to the Smoky Mountains. It's a great area. It's really, really nice. So I know you enjoy it, and this house is awesome. Okay. What the hell am I doing, man? Come on, computer. All right, here we go. That's awesome. I swear I know. Yeah. See, Paul Etchison share. Okay, there it is again. Okay. All right. I'm gonna put the links in the chat in just a moment here, but let me show you this. Let me show you what this looks like. Okay. All right. Let's see. Look, there we go. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. So there's the house. All right. There's the house. 4 floors. It's a huge place. Okay. This is where we will be masterminding. Look at this kitchen, living room area. How cool is that? We'll probably push those tables together. Man, look at this cabin. It is so cool. We got a pool. I know everybody on this call is saying, I have for so long wanted to go swimming with Dr. Etchison. We could do that. Get in the hot tub. No, we're going to have fun. It's a nice house. That's what I'm trying to show you. Everybody gets their own room, gets their own bathroom. Beautiful weather when we're going to be there. It's a beautiful time of year in the Smoky Mountains. And that's going to be our view right there. Right there, that bottom, that little house right there. Looks really little. That's the giant house, 20 bed. So that is the thing right there. You can go there. And I want to show you just a video from our last one that we did in Destin. 2 seats still available. Look how much fun this was. Give me a moment.
I needed direction. I had a practice that was going a million miles an hour, and I felt like I was running in the dark. I'd listened to a bunch of podcasts podcast, read his book, and I just resonated with him a lot. His struggles seem very similar to mine, so I thought he'd be a good person to learn from.
Our goal is to help dentists get free from the chair, to create practices that not only take great care of their patients and their team, but also giving them a lot of profit and flexibility and the kind of income that really allows them to live great lives.
The team just loves what's done for our culture. We've more than doubled in size in 2.5 years. Having a great work environment like that to come to is great. The flexibility I've gotten as an owner to set my own hours, decrease my hours at work, I would not have done it without them.
One of the differences with this mastermind is that we get to talk kind of just ourselves, what we call hot seats, where you can get up and explain the main situations that you're going through, as opposed to just having somebody come in with a cookie cutter template. This is customized. You lay out your issues, the group sits back, asks questions, finds out more about it, starts giving you solutions, and then holds you accountable.
What's nice is we get to really dive in on the top most pressing issue for each person. And then as I hear somebody else's most pressing issue, it might be something that's also an issue for myself. So I'm picking up all these tips to go back to my practice and clean things up, make things run smoother.
I would definitely recommend this mastermind. It's so much knowledge that builds community and camaraderie.
If you're a dental practice owner that wants to learn more about how to create the practice of their dreams, how to take great care of their patients and take great care of their team, but also live an amazing life by taking a lot of time off while having a high income, I want to show you how to do that. I want to help you get there. Please take the time to reach out to us, set up a free strategy call, and we can discuss what options we have and what resources we can provide for you.
All right, so there you have it, okay? So if we got 2 seats left, it's going to sell out. It is April 24th, 25th, that weekend, all right? We fly in Thursday night, leave Sunday morning. We will be masterminding and hanging out all weekend talking about dentistry. My wife will be there, and she has so much fun talking to all these dentists, but I tell you, she's not looking forward to how much dental talks there's going to be, because I love to talk about dental stuff, like talking shop, right? So this is awesome for anyone that wants to go. There's 2 seats left. Now, things to know about this, it's all included. The price includes your lodging, includes all your food. You can bring a spouse. It's included in the price if you want to bring your spouse or somebody else. You cannot bring your kids. You can bring your kids, but they cannot stay in the house. We do not allow kids to stay in the house. But I really look forward to seeing hopefully 2 people that are on this webinar tonight. Will be my last 2 people to come in. And if you're thinking about like, hey, what can coaching do for me? I'm just interested in taking my practice to the next level. You need a coach. Okay, I've had a coach. Everybody that is on our coaching team, Dr. Henry Ernst, Dr. Steve Markowitz, has had a coach. So you need to have that help. It's what's going to propel you. That's how you skip the line in practice development. That's this blue QR code right there. They set up a strategy call with me. I'll be happy to talk you through what's possible. And at the bare minimum, just give you some advice. Probably talked about good 4 people a week. So it takes a lot of my time, but I like doing it. I like dentistry. This is what you guys know. You listen to the podcast. I'm barely in the practice. I'm there about 3 days a month. I only practice 2 days a month. And I go on one day just to kind of chill and mess with my team and just have meetings and stuff, because I have that self-managing practice built. One conversation at a time, like we said. So I hope to see you guys there. I hope to see somebody there. Now, if anyone had a sort of like question, check the chat. You can put in the Q&A. I'm happy to take some Q&A right now for anybody who wants it. I'll just wait just a moment here, but that is my presentation tonight. And I think you've got the power as a dental practice owner. You really can do this stuff. This is not, you don't need to be a natural leader. I work with so many people that are not natural leaders. It's not so much about the charisma or if you're an introvert or an extrovert. It's about the intention you have in your heart, your motives. If your motives are pure about your practice, you want it to be a great place to work at and you want it a great place for patients, teach you how to convey that to the team, inspire them, and get them to do things because they're motivated to do it, versus what most people do: punish, consequences, yelling at your team, shaming them, that sort of stuff. You got to do that. So please check that retreat out. There's those 2 links there so that you have them. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. I do see one question. Here we go. If employees don't get along and struggle to work together cooperatively, how would you handle this while keeping culture? That is a great question. Here's what most people do. Employee 1 comes and says, hey, I can't stand employee 2. They want you to go to employee 2 and then take care of it. But they don't want employee 2 to know that employee 1 tattled on them. So somehow magically, you are supposed to like just solve the world and weave your magic, Disneyland dentistry, that sort of stuff. And what does that happen? What happens then? You go to that person, you say, hey, some people have been noticing that you're not getting your work done. You're just spending a lot of time talking. Who told you that? Oh, nobody. I am, and then all of a sudden they're on a witch hunt trying to figure out who's talking about that. Okay. So it's going to be very dependent on what is the situation there. But what you need to do is you need to break that triangulation. You need to get this person to address it with that person. Now, if it is something that's outside your core values, right? And it's something that's like very obvious that you can see it, you can address it directly with that person. But where we get in these stinky situations a lot is when we've got like something like, it's like somebody that works at the front desk and they're doing something, maybe they're on their phone when nothing's happening up there. There's no way you would know about that. So it's obvious that somebody tattled on them. So it's like you're always going to fall back on those standards, the why. You're going to lean onto that, and you're going to ask questions. You're going to get curious. Somehow you got to say to this person, hey, I think it would mean a lot if you addressed it directly. You want me to help you do it? I'd be happy to help facilitate that conversation. I'll tell you 9 times out of 10, that person will have that conversation with that person on their own. But why does this become a difficult situation for most people? Because the practice owner is you, never modeling that type of conversation. So you've got to be having those conversations with people so that it models it for them. It is a difficult situation to be in. Now, I would tell you, what would I do if 2 employees weren't getting along? I would start asking questions of everybody involved. Say, hey, notice what's going on with that? And I would get some opinions. I would tell you, a lot of dental practice owners, we work with, we tolerate one employee. It does really good work, has really good numbers, but pisses everybody off. Piss off everybody, but we tolerate them because it's hard to get rid of them because the numbers are good. But I assure you, if you went around and you asked everybody and they're like, yeah, he or she's rude to me. They're really nice to the patients, but they're rude to me. You might go talk to that person, always say like something like, hey, I've seen this so many times with office. Hey, like, I noticed that sometimes, like, I'm going to lead with, I care about you, I just want to help coach you. But I notice sometimes I get worried about the way that you sometimes react or say things to the rest of the team that they might like misinterpret your intentions. And have that conversation. You can lead it. I love leading conversations with what I don't want the person to think. I'll tell you, I just had a conversation with one of my leads recently, and sat her down and I said, hey, you know what? I really don't want to have this conversation right now because, gosh, I care about you so much and you mean so much to me, and I'm so worried that you will take what I'm about to tell you as I'm unappreciative of what you do. That is not the case. I appreciate it. But this is what I've been noticing. We had that conversation. We had a very mature conversation about it. Solve that problem. Okay, but I led with what I don't want them to think. You've got it. And so, like, maybe another thing to say too is like you're going to come at this person with something. You're getting curious. Remember CBI? Whatever they say. Hey, I notice you're not getting along with this. Well, she's such a be to me. And yeah, well, tell me about that. Well, she did this. Oh man, I could see why that would upset you, but not conducive to team environment. So invite. So what do you think we could do that you guys are able to work together, get along for the sake of the team? You want to have a conversation directly with that person? So those are the most difficult things we deal with. And they're frustrating as hell. I feel you. But you know, you got to bring it out in the open. Worst thing you can do, this is the Mokita. Worst thing you can do is just shove it down and hope it goes away. You're willing to address these things when they're small, they're not that big. And one of the things too is when you start doing this CVI thing, you get curious and try the validation thing. Like really like go in this week at work. Today's Wednesday. Go tomorrow. See if you can do that validation with somebody. See if you can ask somebody about something that's bothering you and validate them. We'll see. It is so effective that when you start to have to address things like this, you're not going to be so worried about addressing them. Because what happened? You learned a technique that now makes these conversations very predictable. Okay? So that's what I want you to do. But don't get me wrong, they're hard conversations to have. And a lot of these things, when we address them, we have let them grow so big that what these two people are fighting about is not even what just happened. It's about all the things that happened months and months. Danielle, thank you so much for answering that question. That is a really good one. But you know what else is really cool? When you build a self-managing team with leads, I don't deal with these things anymore. So as much as predictable as they are, I don't necessarily enjoy them. So when you have leads at your practice, they're constantly checking in with people. And when these things happen, they're the person that goes and do that. That's what we teach in our program. We build your leadership team for you and we train your leads. Because just because they're a good hygienist doesn't mean they're going to be a good lead hygienist. A lead hygienist. They need to learn this. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's a good question, but nobody likes it, but it needs to be addressed. That is the non-negotiable part. Bring it out. All right, anybody else? I'm here, man. Talk. Throw another one in the chat. A little bit more time to see if somebody wants to be brave and guarantee it. You're having your practice. Had up to 40 team members. Had it. Had the weirdest things happen. Weird, strange things. Wouldn't believe it. We had happen at our practice the other day. This is awesome. So we've got a reverse osmosis filter. All right. The little PVC valve got a little bit loose and it just missed. A little tiny mist. Tiny mist landed on some conduit for electrical that over time tripped all the way down into an electrical outlet, which shorted out our sewage pump. Guess what happens when your sewage pump shorts? The sewage just builds up, starts smelling like crap, and it overflows into the room. Cool. Yeah, it happened. Stuff. All was that little tiny pinpoint leak, mist, hit the conduit, tripped down into the outlet, shut the pump off. Awesome. And then I had to tighten up the little check valve. Yeah, I got it all over. Not a good thing. All right. I don't see any more questions in there. Thank you guys all for coming tonight. We do have there is a webinar that is scheduled for next week. That was actually a mistake. That's going to get moved into May. But I really appreciate you guys coming out here and spend some time with me to learn more about dental practice management. Thank you for listening to the podcast. And you guys have a fantastic week. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.